Hi guys, it's Michelle Padilla. I'm the host of the Awareness Show, and I got my co-host Jackie, and I got a special guest, Michelle. How do I pronounce How do I pronounce your last name?
My name's Michelle Tomlinson.
So,
Woohoo.
Michelle, tell us what you do. I know I've seen that you're a B-lister actor, and I've seen some of your movies. And Jackie was kind of interested in what you do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm your average film industry multi-hyphenate actor, acting teacher, acting coach, and a filmmaker. So I wear a lot of hats,
Yeah.
usually not all at the same time, and it's really fulfilling to lead a life of multi-hyphenatism because I'm always involved with the film industry, and so it's I don't know how else to put it other than just really fulfilling and really
Oh, I
Do you
believe
like
it all
a
the
lot of
way.
fun. Yeah, a lot of hard work. I work. That's what I do. I work.
so? What movies have we seen you in?
Goodness, a bunch of fun horror films, like indie horror films. I was in things like The Cellar Door, Brain Dead, George's Intervention, um, and now I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, a lot of drama and a lot of horror and comedy stuff. Just, I love the independent film circuit. I love the indie film set feeling. I love the camaraderie of making indie films. And
Yeah.
so, every film I've done, I've walked away smarter, better actor probably, and just a lot more experienced in the ways of everything on set from an acting perspective. And so it really helped to take everything acting and start plugging that in a lot of different day jobs that I had all at the start of all things me in the film industry and culminate them more towards filmmaking, which has been what I've really been honing in on the last few years.
Oh,
And
wow.
what are you been doing during the pandemic? I know it's a lot of crazy stuff, and Hollywood was shut down for a while, and now it's back up again. So,
You know, I just want to address the pandemic being, honest to God, very tragic. I'm not
Mm.
going to gloss over the hundreds of thousands of people who have died from COVID, and I'm not going to gloss over the millions of people who have lost their jobs and, are on that line of possibly losing their homes and more.
right.
That's that's real. That's
It's
very hard,
tough.
real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to gloss over that stuff. So that has all happened. I've lost a good friend of mine from COVID. A lot of people have lost a lot of people from COVID.
Mhm.
So I really would want to address the pandemic as the pandemic that it's been. Um, Aspects of the film industry obviously were massively impacted. And from an acting teacher's standpoint, um, I got to work a lot more intimately with a lot of clients because of the pandemic. A lot of actors said, oh my gosh, this is going to be the time where I really dig in and get a lot more training under my belt. And so I got a slight influx of clients from these amazing human beings and very gifted, talented actors who have used this time during the pandemic to really dig in and learn and learn and study and learn and study. And they have all been booking the entire time. As
Nice.
soon as things started to whisper about being open, commercials or studio feature films that they booked at the start of the pandemic, and then everything shut down, they've been able to shoot those. So a lot of my clients have been working almost the entire time. And
Oh,
so that's
nice.
been amazing because it's like, oh my God, look at what you're accomplishing during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Imagine the fire you're going to really be once the pandemic is behind us and we're on to the next chapter of humanity, whatever that is really going to look like. We don't know yet. And so the pandemic, and I start off with the tragedy because I do think it needs to be honored. And there's always going to be silver linings to even the most horrible of situations. And so I live my entire life in extreme balance as much as possible. of this aspect might be awful, but this other aspect is really phenomenal. And so I try to kind of take everything in stride. And that's how I've approached the pandemic is, I'm just going to stay healthy. I'm going to be as mindful about my health and, my family's and take care of everybody as much as I possibly can. And I'm just going to continue making art. I directed a film, actually a Zoom film called Remption that is all about 3 different points of view about sexual assault.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I did that right in the middle of this pandemic. Written by a man named James Walter Charleston. He created a podcast that I cast a while back. We work really well together. And he wrote this one-man show called Remption. And we started talking about it. He had already toured it, and he's a phenomenal, talented actor. And he had already toured the show. And so we started looking at it as, well, maybe we can record you, Jim, and have you present it in a recorded fashion. Then it turned into, let's hire 3 other actors and have them play the 3 characters that were the one-man show and create a film around it. And so that's what we did. And it's very raw and honest and beautiful and heartbreaking, gutting, and really makes you take a look at what do you believe in when it comes to the causes of sexual assault. You okay, honey?
I don't know what happened. All of a sudden I was like, oop, I got a cough. Sorry.
No, are you okay? Are you good? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine.
Cool. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, God, we're talking about a pandemic, you cough, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what do you need? Where do you live? What can I get you?
I know, it's like bad timing.
On Netflix right now, or is it on Hulu or?
Oh, we're entering the final phases of post-production with it. We've interwoven some really amazing footage. And I'll just leave it there. We've interwoven a lot of really amazing footage because I didn't want to do the thing that a lot of Zoom films, I think, are doing of creating a background or create like these different things. I just know that with this, because the subject matter is so raw, I wanted the background to also be incredibly raw. And so we have everybody but their backdrop things, behind them. So it's very just authentic Zoom meeting style thing. So we're headed towards the next edit, and then it'll be color, and then a little bit of composer, and then it'll be out the door.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's gotta be fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's heavy, dude. Like, let's in the middle of a pandemic, we're going to make a film about sexual assault.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's so important and timely with the Me Too and with the rise of all of these women who were trapped with their abusers during the pandemic with the lockdown. So there were a lot of people.
That's a scary thought.
And it's a true thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, you look at all of those things put together and you go, okay, this might not be a comedy, but it is timely as far as subject matter is concerned. So.
And how long did it take you to make this film? Like, how many months?
Well, the script was done. It just needed a little bit of tweaking. So let me, what month are we in? February.
Seriously.
2020 was such a long decade that sometimes I get screwy what month we're in. I don't know, probably like 4 months or so.
That's not bad.
It feels about that length. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys
so,
kind of
like,
had all the time in the world.
Yeah. Did you help
Right.
direct? What do you do for your downtime?
My downtime?
Yes, if you have any downtime.
Well, I'm a single mom, so like my downtime, I don't know, I just kind of have time. And so my first, my first love of what I do in life is momming. And so there's a lot of, I'm homeschooling her, she's 5, and I'm homeschooling her, and we're doing all of the things that one would do with a fresh 5-year-old. She just turned 5 the other day.
Oh
and
my
so
goodness.
that's yeah. Do you guys have kids?
No, but I
The
mean,
kids,
I
pet
grew
dogs.
up with
So.
just my mom.
Oh, you grew up with just your mom, Jackie?
Yeah, 18 years straight. But now I have a brother and a sister, and we are 18 and 21 years apart. It's wild. It is so wild. But I
Wow.
mean, I can totally appreciate the whole, wearing of many hats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And then through this, whew.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's weird, and I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but she's made a lot of this really easy. She's an
Ah,
amazing human. Like, she's just an amazing human. And so my first priority is her, and making sure that she's this, schooled and all of the things and art and adventure time and all the things that come with raising a small child. And then
Mhm.
comes all of my work stuff. And so again, it's just that balance where
Yeah.
I love my daughter more than breath, and I love what I do for work. So I just kind of tend to live in a lot of love and a lot of gratitude,
Oh,
um,
I love it.
for those things. And so, like, downtime, like, I take a hot bath.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's relaxing.
If I have insomnia, I'll like check out some stuff on Netflix at 2 a.m. just to like calm my mind down a little bit.
I've gotten
Yeah,
into
that's what I've been doing too. When I've been
yeah.
watching like old reruns of different sitcoms that I used to like, and then I was trying to tell my cousin who's 12 years old, I showed her the Golden Girls. She goes,
Oh,
"What is that?" I'm like, "That's old. That's classy. That's nothing." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
They're
So she didn't like
classics.
she
that was a
she's
great
more
show.
into she's more into action packed and what do you call it? Horror comedy stuff like uh, Poseidon and some other stuff, recent stuff that's on right
Oh,
now.
they're
I'm like,
good.
no, I'll stick to the classics like 80s, Punky Brewster, all that stuff.
Punky
And
Brewster, yeah, yeah.
speaking of Punky, they're coming out in 2 weeks. Reboot.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Where have I
on Disney.
been? Jeez.
I'm not even sure how I feel about that.
Well, it takes place now as they're adults, and she has kids of her own.
Oh, it's like the Fuller
Oh.
House reboot. Full
Yeah,
House turned into Fuller
Yeah.
House. So
yeah.
they're taking that same like algorithm or whatever formula and up. Oh, all right, well, cool.
See how
Yeah,
that
so
goes.
we'll see how it goes. So,
Why not? Why not?
Mm.
Surviving Death was great. I just finished that. It's a short docu series. I think it's on Netflix. But if that's your bag, it was really interesting and really well shot and really well defined and explained, and just a really great docu series if that's your bag.
oh
Mm.
wow, we're
I'll
gonna
look
have
that
to
up. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
because there's
it was really
stuff
cool.
coming up, like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. And you got all
Hmm.
the crazy now Peacock. So, it's
Peacock.
stream. Yeah,
Jeez.
it's NBC. It's part of NBC.
Yeah, the NBC, the
Okay.
little rainbow bird that it's like bloop, and it's like bloop.
Oh.
Yeah, like a legit peacock.
Wow. All right.
Why not?
That was my mom. I love my mom and dad too. So, yeah, they're in their 60s, and we have two golden retrievers and a mini schnauzer. So that takes up most of my time. I walk the dogs and stuff. Actually, they walk me. So
Yeah, the golden retrievers are usually pretty happy. They would walk you.
yes, they do.
Yes.
And the girl dog is actually she stops and walks and stops and walks and she pulls, and I'm like, wow.
It's like stop and go.
Yeah,
That,
stop and go. She's 8 years old, so those are my child since I can't have any kids. So
you know what though?
Fur
Got these
babies.
dogs who love you so much. I had a dog, a half pit bull, half Dalmatian,
Oh my
150 years ago.
gosh.
He was the most precious thing ever. He would sleep next to me and he'd put his head in my armpit and his little paws. And I'd wake up in the morning and literally like his whole face would be to my face. and his tongue would be hanging out, and he would be just.
I love those moments so much.
And then they're like, and then when you see my 4-year-old dog, Eeyore, he loves to go see squirrels. He takes off like that. I'm like, no! He dragged me, like, no, get back here. So he saw 2 squirrels today in the park, and he wanted to go, actually 3, he wanted to chase after them. I'm like, okay, that should be like a cartoon or something, like me could go and chase it after Eeyore up in the tree, and I'm like, no.
It's such a wonderful exercise of futility.
Yes, it is.
They ain't never gonna catch that squirrel. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is not a thing that's gonna happen. And every dog legitimately goes for it, like, today is my day.
That squirrel.
You need to pick another hobby. You know?
Exactly.
Let's play ball. You can catch that.
Seriously.
That it was teasing Eeyore, like, like he was laughing.
Oh, they
at
definitely
him.
have fun with that. You know they do.
And he's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. And the squirrel's like, like,
that's what they do. They're sassy.
Happy Gilmore. With the
yeah.
Or yeah, and then with that little and so. You ever seen Happy Gilmore?
Bits and pieces.
Thing, and he got in like a big fight
or
with.
No. It's Caddyshack. Caddyshack. With the little
that's
floor.
a whole different.
Oh.
Yeah, you're talking about the little. I know what you're talking about. It's the what the hell, like a groundhog or whatever, the thing from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Bill Murray, Caddyshack. Yes. Wow. You just took me back to like my early childhood of watching Caddyshack with my dad. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I remember this now.
About this one.
Here it is. Hello,
And
childhood.
then speaking of hats, there was an actress, Minnie Pearl. She used to wear all kinds of different hats.
She was the chick with the hat that always had the price tag hanging off of it.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I could never really figure that out. The price tag, like, it was a character choice, obviously, of some sort, but there was a price tag all the time.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
she would wear different hats too every single time, and I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like Minnie Pearl. I'm like, okay, so it's interesting. So, and Jackie's like, who is this Minnie Pearl?
I know.
There's a clip of I Love Lucy, and in that scene, there's a lady that has different hats. You should watch that. You will see it, and then you know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Minnie Pearl, yo. Dangling price tag. I would end up poking myself in the eye if I did something that crazy, honestly.
I'm going to kick myself if I actually know who this is, too. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, the minute you see her, I'm sure you're going to be like, oh, yeah. I know who that is. Yeah. So what do you girls do with this awareness show? What a great name for a show. What is your mission with the awareness show?
So we started this awareness show about 9 years ago. I got diagnosed with a chromosome called 22q11. It's like a tiny piece of a chromosome. It's like Down syndrome. So you have 200 symptoms. You have a congenital heart defect. You have teeth issues, learning disability, feeding tube, and there's no cure for this rare disease. So we started it out. We wanted to get the name out, but when we started to do the awareness show, we had different celebrities and people coming onto the show talking about their causes and their events. So it just kind of grew. And so the more people knew about the awareness show, we made it bigger and brighter and talking about their causes and events and if they have rare diseases, they talk about it. So it's basically about causes and rare diseases and what they want to bring to the show, like events and stuff like that. We've had Marion Ross from Happy Days on the show. We've had the late Don Wells on the show, Loretta Swift on the show. And so it just grew and grew and grew. And then we had Pepper from the original Annie to the show. So, and then a very special comedian came onto the show, Bobby Collins. He has a daughter who has similar needs as I do, who has not the syndrome, but close enough. And so he's promoting a camp called Xenu for special kids with disabilities. So that's what we try to bring onto the show, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So
Well, clearly.
yeah.
That much is definitely evident. Well, what a fantastic vessel to use, and to give other people platforms for awareness. I mean, there's only a million things in the world to shed light to and share and bring awareness to, I mean, my God. Like I had thyroid cancer in 2013, and that
Wow.
inspired me to do a whole podcast for a short while about every life has every walk of life has an inspiring story was like the log line, and people overcoming their own trials and tribulations, because what better way to help somebody else than to share bits and pieces of yourself, and somebody can relate to that, and they feel kind of lifted a little bit higher thanks to what you've shared or done, or whatever.
Well,
I mean, all we should be doing is trying to help other people anyway.
The people that I talk to, when I say, okay, I've had 3 open heart surgery, I have a congenital heart defect, I've had 3 sinus surgeries, I was a blue baby, lack of oxygen that went to the brain, I almost died a couple of times. Then I had a grand mal seizure at the age of 17, was in a coma, suffered brain damage. So I didn't know about 22q till later, until I got diagnosed at the age of 30, and we didn't know. It is genetic, but my family doesn't have it. I got it by accident, so we don't know how I got it. And so we just started, doing this cause, and we have events throughout May. We have our zoo event, but because of the pandemic, we didn't get to do the zoo event this year. So we have Rare Disease Day, which is February 28th, and we talk. There's over 7,000 different rare diseases out there that nobody knows about, and so people come onto the show. We talk about those types of rare diseases, and we've had friends who had kidney transplant. My friend Nikki Rich, she just she's doing a kidney transplant. We've had so many wonderful people onto the show talking about what they've been through, and so we just wanted to make it broader and wider and more fun. So basically, that's
the root of it. So you didn't find out until you were 30 that this was like the diagnosis, prognosis, I always get them all goofy.
Yes.
So you didn't find out until you were 30. So from 0 to 30, what were you told by the doctors as far as what was going on with your body? I mean, that is a lot, dude. That is a lot.
The doctors knew, but I think they wanted me to be different and not have, be sheltered and make me do my own things and stuff like that, So they eventually told my mom and dad that they knew that I had it, but so
kind of weird.
We wanted to I started the podcast, and I'm like, okay, so what should be the name? We don't want to call it 22Q. We wanted to call it the Awareness Show, because there's different, causes and events that are happening that people should be more aware of. And so that's how the Awareness Show came about. So we didn't want to stick to just 22Q. So, if people ask me what it is, then I will tell them what it is. So we didn't want to have it focused just that. So that's.
Everything has a start, though, and a reason that it started. So, holy moly, you have been through quite a journey.
Yes, what I take from that, Michelle, is that my favorite thing, and something that you say that always stands out to me, is you've never let your disability get in the way of you doing anything for yourself. And I guess that's what I kind of take from hearing that, like, they knew, but they didn't say anything. I mean, I guess like you're saying, like, look at the bright side, or like however, but
the balance of it.
Yeah. And
when you have two parents who are strong and protective, and basically your life coaches, and telling you can do it, you can do anything you set your mind to. There's no I can't in that vocabulary, And there's times where I don't want to do anything and just be lazy and just I don't give,
That's normal.
That's Same.
It took me 12 years, Harvard College, to get my degree, and then it took me another 6 years to get my, what do you call it, BA degree. And then I just recently got diagnosed with intellectual disability, and it's
Can you say that again? The what?
intellectual disability. Well, it's, I hate this word, but mental retardation. I hate it with a passion. So they use that word instead. I'm borderline. So, you know, my thought process is not that great, and my wording is not all that great. So I do have some issues, and so I've been able to get help at Kelsey Dominguez, you know, and I was fortunate to, you know, keep doing what I do with the podcast. And I, you know, this is something I want to keep going. So,
And plus, you got a degree. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
I mean, you got a degree, dude. Like,
Yes.
that's pretty cool.
You stuck it
And
through all the way through.
Yeah.
I was on the verge of being kicked out of Cal State Dominguez, but I had to show my dean that I could do it, and he's like, "Why should I give you another chance?" And then the next thing you know, I showed him I could do it. He goes, "Okay, you proved me wrong." So
Good.
I've been,
Yeah.
yes, I've been picked on, I've been bullied, but you know, like I said, I have two strong parents who tell me I can do anything I want to.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And they're right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are truly only limited if we believe we are limited.
Yeah.
That's
The more limited our belief system are, whew, we're just cutting ourselves off at the knees or something, right? Isn't that a saying? Cut yourself off at the knees?
Yeah.
Or is that the nose in the face? I don't know.
Cutting it
Those
short.
nugget sayings, I kind of make them up as I go. Whatever.
So,
But you know,
Sounds
like, don't,
good.
you know, being limited doesn't do anybody any favors, because then you're never going to live up to your full potential if
yes.
you don't believe that you can do the things that you have in your heart to do anyway. So give your parents a big giant hug after this and tell them yes.
Yeah, we butt heads a lot sometimes, though. They're in their 60s, but you know, they mean well, and I'm getting ready to have another surgery coming up at the end of February. So I'm at high risk, and so basically I've been staying home, going out of my mind. And so I figured, okay, let's do the podcast, keep it going, and see, you know, where it goes. Because I broke away from KDHR about 2 years ago, and I started doing remote access. And Zoom is telling me we only have 10 minutes. Thank you, Zoom. So we broke away from KDHR. Now, fast forward, we're doing very good. So we wanted to let our listeners know, and you, we are selling T-shirts on Friendless right now, and we are opening up one new logo that's going to be popping up pretty soon. I'll send you the link so you can buy the T-shirts. Our wonderful graphic designer Maxi Rodriguez did our logo back here. You can see the headphones and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, oh, got that.
So, real quick, I know we got a few minutes left. Michelle, where can we find you on your social media platform?
I have Instagram, Facebook, and I have Twitter, but better to
Yeah.
do Instagram and Facebook. I go onto Twitter, and then like I feel like my pulse starts to rise, and I'm like, and then I like, oh yeah, that's funny. Oh, that's not appropriate. Oh, and I hate it. I hate it. So more Instagram and Facebook, and I think it's just Michelle Tomlinson, or yeah, and then you look for somebody who looks, you know, kind of like this, varying hair
Now,
colors.
do you have a hat on Facebook or not a hat?
I don't remember. Right now, this moment, I can't remember. I did have a hat on Facebook for a while, because when I direct, I tend to wear the same baseball cap, and I tend to wear it backwards,
wow.
because that way, if I pop outside for something, I can flip it around and have, you know, shade versus looking for my sunglasses or whatever. So it's just less stuff to deal with. But yeah, so maybe.
Oh, okay. And you guys can find us all over platform, iTunes, radio.com, Podomatic, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, and Jackie, if I'm forgetting anything else.
I don't know. I mean, I think you kind of covered majority of it because you're like plugged everywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I'm still
what,
trying to get a hold of like all the platforms.
Michelle, once I'm done editing, I will send it to you, and I will look for you on Facebook so I can add you as a friend.
Perfect. I would love
All
that.
right. Thank you
Okay.
guys.
Thank
Have a
you
good
so
one.
much.
Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. It was awesome.
Likewise. Take care.
All right,
Bye.
bye.